Saturnine Terminator Armour. The following video is classified as S for salty. Welcome, gentle listener. I am usually Voldemort, your faithful servant, etc., etc. Well, it looks like we have to discuss the newest mark of Astartes power armor from good old Uncle G Dubs. Terminators, no less. Yummy. Usually. As was prophesied by the leaker who sent an email to Chapter Master Valrak, blessed be his name, unto we who love the rumour mills. The much argued about Saturnine Terminator Armour is indeed coming. Now some might think that this is all bunkum and highly likely to be a total fabrication. I personally think it to be true. The details too long heralded, the box too well formed, and the drop far too convenient. It could indeed be a large pile of bulldung, but I do not think this to be the case, especially as they were mentioned in the Horus Heresy 2nd edition books, according to Remleys. I cannot confirm this, as mine are down the club. So I cannot check until after this video drops, as I go there on a Wednesday. Deep less sigh. Anywho, GW rarely do anything without signposting it. A bit disappointing that their marketing department decided to put out a well-orchestrated hand-waving video, an entire site it seems, dubbed Horus Hearsay. Always entertaining. The box seems to have been released into the wilds of the internet. What a coincidence! But we'll fade down on that one, as my chagrin at dealing with a company that simply refuses to interact honestly with its community is bordering on psychotic, insufferably smug at the minimum, and actually intolerably spiteful from many people's perspectives. Because deriding your customer base has worked so well for so many recently, eh? I find it enervating in the extreme, so we'll push on. Let us discuss the lore of the lore. Yep, I said that right. Because we have bugger all actual lore to really go on, yet. Hence, the only way I can squeeze out a full video on this mad ramble is to do just that. Look at the lore of the lore. Now where did all this hooey come from? Well, once upon a time, in a century long, long ago, GW was messing about with as many designs for a new game as possible, and made a bunch of truly goofy-looking models that eventually mutated into the tactical dreadnought armour, or Terminators, that we all know and love, the Indomitors. Not really knowing their arse from their elbow back then, things moved quite slowly and ponderously compared to now. But we all gave them a break back then, as GW was a bunch of punks who were just pissing about really. They purloined as much as they could from other settings and systems, and stuck it all together with spit and high hopes, or so it appeared from the outside at any rate. The Saturnine armour was never really marked as such, and even in the Warhammer 40k compendium of 1989, the full Indomitus Terminator armour was all the rage. Cataphracts were a type of Imperial robots back then, you see. So that blob of dynasty-sized shoulder pads was already sent out to the pastures, lasting about as long as a gnat's anal exhale. If they even do, of course, but I would imagine they'd be quite short. Now I think they resurrected that particular design for Space Crusade, as I think I still have some deep blue ones knocking around the place somewhere, but let's be honest, my memory is fading to match my hairline, so who the heck really knows for certain? Maybe Snipe and Wib, or something like that. And nope. I've just dug out Exhibit 2. Yes, this is not it at all. Okay, the shoulders are silly, but it's not Saturnine armour. Moving on. Now it has popped up a few times over the years, especially in the excellent animation by Mr. Mark Sparks, The Death of Hope, which I have churlishly sampled and used. I can only hope he doesn't take offence at this, due to the links in the description of this video to his original work, and the promise I would assist with any vocals on subsequent animations, if he does them, but with mad Uncle GW whopping out the ban hammer on animators again, I can't see why he would, to be honest. Again, moving on. On the wiki, just below Gorgon Pattern Terminator armour, And who doesn't love the wiki and believe it absolutely rock solid, eh? Am I right? There is an entry for Salamander's prototype Terminator armour that seems to fit the bill. Armed with combi bolters, triple-barreled autocannons, plasma launchers, and rocket launchers. Some Volkite culverins as well. Dandy, eh? And as you can see from the footage of the leak that I nabbed from the internet, as we all do, it all does seem quite solid. Yet the Saturnine Armour entry states it was available after Mark VI, during the late stages of the Horus Heresy, which is really odd that they keep making the decision to skip over most of the heresy to concentrate on the late stages. But I am hardly an expert on all things heresy. I only got into it when 2nd edition dropped, and that was mostly a reaction to 10th edition 40k just not being to my tastes. Doesn't mean it's better, doesn't mean it's worse, just means it's not for me. Well, in this entry, the Saturnine armour is touted to be functionally identical to the Tartarus, or later Indomitus armour, but just had more weirdness in the Pauldron region. Who would have thought Vulcan would have anything to overcompensate for, considering how meaty and girthy he was? But who really knows? That does make the assumption that the nerds of Mars took a shufti at the prototype Termi armour he made, and sagely nodded thinking, yeah, that rocks, let's do that. But it does beg the question, seeing how much effort they've put into making Vulcan this epic smith and improver of things, then why would he waste his time making armour that was not significantly better than the Tartarus that could be gained already? But let's assume that this was BS, and that he made them rougher and tougher and more able to support heavy weapon loadouts, as seen in the hearsay dropped images you are witnessing right now all over the internet. What they've done to the Telemon seems especially odd. But again, different strokes for different folks, I guess. It's a Saturnine pattern dreadnought now. Groovy. We all know the Games Workshop gain 80% of their money on newly released models, according to their findings. But then, perhaps they'd make more than 20% on a mould if they actually used said mould to make any more. Who doesn't love that wee pink sign next to their potential purchase stating, temporarily uninterested, so go to a 3D printer, the Bamboo A1 is magnificent. Oh, sorry, I meant temporarily out of stock. Temporarily meaning permanently, but let's not split hairs, it brings back feelings of loss. Like when you have stage fright at the urinals due to being instantly flanked by people you suspect may actually be Ogryn. Now, there are huge tracts of text, on Wiki about these sods as well, but this is a fan reimagining of the entire setting, called A Broken Throne. So do not avoid that, as I've been told it is fun, but do not mistake it for solid, Wiki Warhammer stuff. Because, like all of my own tales, it ain't and never will be canon. So don't confuse yourself. Easily done these days. So, let's all just enjoy the moment and the phenomenal opportunity to spend our diminishing disposable cash on a new set of rules that will definitely not require a FAQ within 2 hours of them being dissected by stat tubers, who will definitely not inform you of the ways to break the system by fielding only the top 5 units in the new rules. A FAQ for Horus Heresy Edition 3, of course, we will not get. Because why amend a rule set when you could just record the complaints and sling them into a box marked for the next edition, as you will be working on it again in less than 24 months, in which time the box will of course be incinerated. Because people who play the game, what do they know? The ingrates. And if you make it too good, well, it'll just entice them to buy more, and that would mean the pink notification would go up even faster. And they haven't signed a deal with Bamboo Labs yet, so that would be counterproductive, of course. And let's never forget, why bother to actually meet expectations when you can just hype so that everyone can feel just as desolate as their friends when they do not get the fucking model? The only real question remaining to us is, will the box indeed shine some light on the Silly Man Bears Legion and Peter Turbo's ironing? And how long will I leave this video up? Who can tell? I have been Sarcastamort, Do not like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video, as I rarely if ever salt mine. Unless you are an insomniac, or have a pile of potential taller than the Himalayas and need something relaxing on while tackling it, because that's what I am good for, and it's enough. Now, go and watch the Death of Hope and other stuff in the video description, and do not go flaming videos that refute the Saturnine Armour. They were correct at the time they were made. It's a hobby. Let's just have some fun with it. And no matter what you do today, do try to make some time for fun. Toodaloo.